you mentioned multitasking a few times already in the context of like caring for your kids or what have you. It's something that now at my old ass age, I'm way more cognizant of. Like I'm paying way more attention to that, even the most like minute thing, because these fucking phones, as we all know, we live and die by these motherfuckers these days. And so today we went on a walk. My two youngest, my son and my baby girl, my 4-year-old, and we're just taking a walk through the neighborhood. We don't do that. Like I'm the one that does my walks. These kids 99% of the time are like, fuck that, dad, I'm not walking, I'm gonna stay here as a zombie in front of the TV. So I take them for a walk, and I'm getting texts and all this stuff, and I put my phone on do not disturb, and I just go have my walk. You know how the watch is always going off too, so I make sure that's off, bro. And I've been working on this for a while, but like this particular moment today for me was like kind of a big milestone, I would say, because I was fine shutting it off, which takes some fucking doing, because you feel like you're gonna drop some ball somewhere, and just focusing on the little shit that they wanted to talk about, the things that they were observing as we walked around. Like it was such a cool experience that I take for granted, because we can do it whenever we want to, right? But we don't, for multiple reasons, but mostly it's because I'm stuck in the basement doing some sort of work, and by the time it's time I can go do something, it's dark. So I was like, damn, yo, like when you were saying, multitasking, I wonder in your case, like, how do you have the presence of mind to like shut shit off? Like, can you? How often do you do it? Like, how do you approach it?
That's an issue that I have, man, and I'm having, and I know I'm aware of it, and there's not really much I can do as much as I've tried, because it becomes a catch-22. And of course, like my girl might even like sometimes get upset with me if she sees me. And I've even noticed, and this is the part that makes it terrible, I've noticed my daughter, maybe it's in my mind, but I don't know. I think she's becoming quite smart, and picks up on these things. She looks at me when I'm on the phone sometimes, and I feel like she's almost like, bruh, like almost like her mom, like,
Right.
bruh, are you with me or not with me? You know, like I feel like she's thinking something like that, you know? And I'm gonna tell you this. This is how
I think they do think that.
I believe it. No, and I actually have she acknowledged it one time. I said to her, she looked at me in a way, and I was like, oh, is she thinking what I think she's thinking and judging me being on the phone or something? And I go to her, you want me to put the phone down? And she goes, yes. And I put it down, and she lit up, and she's like, let's play. Like she knows that that's taking me away from playing. Now, the issue is, the catch-22 for me is that not too many people could ever understand it or want to understand it, especially not your significant others. Yeah. Is that I don't turn, I step away from the phone, and then when I come back to it, I'm overwhelmed with shit going on. And then I have to play catch up on top of whatever I already had to do. Now I'm playing catch up with all this other crap that was thrown at me that I didn't deal with in real time. And have to go back and read through a bunch of group texts and look at a bunch of emails that came in. And then that's causing more of like a disconnect or taking my mind away from, the family, or I got to stay longer to do something because I didn't address it at the point, or it caused a problem that because I didn't address it, it caused me an issue because, I'm self-employed. So I'm the end all be all in some situations. And if I don't address it on the spot, then something gets screwed up.
Yeah.
And so it causes, it's a whirlwind of problems, and it's a catch-22. So I don't know. It's like, I say to myself, do I handle business and what's more important, putting food on the table, maintaining a lifestyle for the family? I mean, I might be overthinking this, obviously. Or do I just say, yeah, fuck that, and be a great parent and put this fucking phone down and put that shit in a box and fuck that motherfucker. I'm a fucking, Buddhist Zen hippie father and fuck all that bullshit.
Hey, don't call K that, bro.
And then be the best dad ever, and then we go on food stamps, and we're poor, and we're fucking
okay,
dumpster diving.
Damn, you went in.
You jumped off the fucking cliff.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, I think in extremes, but I think in extremes so that I'd avoid the extreme.
Right. I think it's healthy. I mean, obviously it's healthy. I don't think anybody's denying that. But for you, it's probably worth it. Take an hour in a day. Find a fucking hour where you can do that, and then just wholly focus.
Do it in the morning. No, I do it in the morning. What I do is
so then,
I try to hold back. My phone goes on airplane mode when I go to sleep, and I try to. I that's the time that I can say I don't have to, take it off of airplane mode. I can hold off, and that's when my daughter wakes up. We make her breakfast. I play with her a bit. But then it depends sometimes when I know that something's pending, and I know, because when I wake up and I turn my phone off of airplane mode,
yeah.
Some of the people I work with wake up at fucking 5 a.m. and start fucking chit chatting and about different things that have to be addressed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, guys, how do you deal with it, Kay?
Yeah. How do you go about it, Kay?
He floats in the air.
Buddha Zen master.
He has 5G brain cells. He doesn't need a phone.
Well, I first find my fluffy cloud and I sit on top of it. I mean, I'm guilty of all the above as well. Like I can I mean, I definitely have caught myself checking too many times. Like if I'm doing something with my son, I can see all of a sudden, I got the itch to like check to make sure if an email's coming through or they see the text or any of that kind of stuff. And so it's definitely a work in progress. I mean, I think that I try to realize, I mean, look, there's a time and a place. There's going to be some times where it's like, look, I just got to handle this because it's pressing and pending, and that's what I got to do. And then there's other times where it might be more, it might be annoying stuff that'd be cool to just answer right now, but at the end of the day, it's not, if I do it a little later, it's not going to kill everything. So I kind of try to juggle it that way. And I also like, I just don't want him to see me on the phone 24/7. That's another thing. It's just, I mean, my wife and I have talked about this before, and we're both guilty of it, but we will do some things sometimes just to, we'll get a subscription to a newspaper. So we've got a newspaper in the flow, and, he can see us reading a newspaper, or he sees us, or we'll pull out books, and we'll, instead of looking at the phone for news or whatever, we'll pull out books. So at least he sees something else that we're looking at other than the screen, just,
right.
Because they're going to mirror what we do. So, but I mean, there's definitely times where, like, sometimes if I'm going out with them or we're going to do something, and I know that there's not a ton of pressing stuff going on, I'll just leave the phone at home. And
wow, you go that extreme? That's extreme.
Yeah, I mean, there's part of me that gets a little anxious about it just from a safety issue, like but like, for instance, if we don't live too far from the beach, so if the three of us, my wife, my son, myself, if we're going to go to the beach, and I know I don't really have anything too crazy pressing, and I could get to it later, and I know, like, my wife is going to bring her phone, I'll leave mine. And I'm just thinking, like, all right, one of us has something for an emergency in case something happens, but I'm just gonna leave it alone so that I'm not even tempted to look at it or do anything, and I just enjoy that time. But that's not all the time. I think it's, again, just as best as you can, try to find a balance with it and not let it overwhelm me. But everyone's circumstances are different, and everyone's the way that a job is getting done is different. The way your information comes and the stuff that you have to do comes from all different angles at all different times, and people who don't work for themselves or have the kind of work that you do probably wouldn't quite understand it.
Yeah, it's tough to put into normal world context. Like,
but I do believe, no matter what kind of job you have, whether it's self-employed or work for a company, I do believe that you have to put some type of boundaries on your time at some point. And again, easier said than done, but you do have to kind of carve out some different times where it's like you're not accessible 24/7.